What if I told you that one of the rarest Camaros ever built was so controversial that General Motors didn't want people to know it existed? A Camaro that came out during the weakest era of American muscle cars, yet secretly tried to bring performance back using something radical: turbocharging. This is the story of the 1981 Yenko Turbo Z Camaro, a car so rare and mysterious that many enthusiasts still don't even know it was ever built. By the late 1970s, the golden age of American muscle cars was over. The oil crisis, strict emissions laws, and rising insurance costs had crippled performance cars. Engines that once produced 400 horsepower were suddenly struggling to make 200. Even icons like the Chevrolet Camaro Z28 were affected. When the Z28 returned in 1977 after a short hiatus, it no longer carried the powerful Corvette L82 engine. Instead, it used a much milder engine known as the LM1 350 cubic-inch small-block V8. Performance dropped dramatically. A quarter-mile run in the mid-16-second range was considered normal. For muscle car fans, it was a painful era. But something interesting happened. Even though performance dropped, Camaro sales went up. Chevrolet realized something. Buyers were no longer chasing pure speed. They wanted style, comfort, and personality. By 1978, the Camaro received a major refresh. It introduced sleek, body-colored bumpers, better interior features, and luxury options like power windows, premium stereo systems, T-top roof panels, even a CB radio. The Camaro had transformed from a street racer into a stylish cruiser, and it worked. Sales exploded to over 85,000 units in 1979. But one man believed the Camaro deserved something more. That man was Don Yenko. If you know muscle car history, the Yenko name is legendary. Back in the late 1960s, Yenko became famous for creating brutal, high-performance Camaros powered by massive engines. But by the 1980s, the world had changed. Big engines were no longer the answer. So Yenko turned to something new: turbocharging. Instead of installing a larger engine, Yenko decided to boost the existing engine with a turbocharger. This idea was ahead of its time. Turbocharging was still rare in American cars. The result was the Yenko Turbo Z Camaro. Externally, the car looked similar to a standard Z28, but under the hood, things were very different. The turbocharged system dramatically increased engine performance, and suddenly, the Camaro had real power again. The Yenko Turbo Z Camaro wasn't a mainstream factory model. It was a specialized performance conversion. And because of emissions regulations and corporate restrictions, the project stayed relatively quiet. Only a small number were produced. Some estimates suggest just a handful of cars were ever built. That rarity is exactly what makes the Yenko Turbo Z Camaro so fascinating today. It was a rebellious attempt to bring performance back during the slowest era of muscle cars. Remember, this was the early 1980s. Most American performance cars were struggling, but the turbocharged Yenko Camaro offered something exciting again. Boost pressure helped restore lost horsepower. Acceleration improved dramatically compared to standard Z28 models. And for enthusiasts who still loved performance, the Yenko Turbo Z felt like a glimpse of the old muscle car spirit, just in a new form. Looking back, Yenko's idea was actually incredibly forward-thinking. Today, turbocharging is everywhere, from sports cars to economy cars. But in 1981, it was almost unheard of in American performance vehicles. The Yenko Turbo Z Camaro quietly predicted the future of performance engineering. Smaller engines, forced induction, more efficiency with more power. Because so few were built, the 1981 Yenko Turbo Z Camaro has become one of the rarest Camaros in existence. Many people don't even know it was ever made, and surviving examples are extremely hard to find. For collectors, it represents a strange but fascinating moment in muscle car history, a time when performance refused to die, even when the industry tried to suppress it. Today, the Yenko Turbo Z Camaro sits in a strange place in history. Part legend, part mystery, part forgotten experiment. But here's the real question. If turbocharging had become popular in American muscle cars earlier, could the muscle car era have survived the 1970s? And could cars like the Camaro have evolved into something very different? That's a story most people have never heard, and it might completely change how you see the history of muscle cars.